Well, we covered the old era, a mere... Wait, how long has it been again? 2 months?! Darn it. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try to make this more consistent, although I can't really promise anything, you know? Partly due to the fact that the old era was a lot simpler compared to all the others, and this era was a bit more complex than I remembered. And laziness. Mostly laziness. Let's just get started then, shall we? So you might notice that, depending on how I decide to title this might be called one of 3 things. The Classic Era, the Golden Era, or the Classic/Golden Era. Just know that when people refer to the Golden Era or the Classic Era, they're referring to this. Now from here forward, I'll be calling this the Classic Era, and let me explain why. This era is home to tons of classic videos that still hold up fairly well today. However, I don't think that it's fair to call this the Golden Era, since that implies it's almost completely perfect and that Logan should have just stuck with everything he did in these old videos. I disagree. I think these are some really great videos, but some hold up better than others, but we'll talk about that more later. So this era spans all the way from the very first Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventures episode, all the way to the first Junior video. There will be lots of sub-eras here, so let's talk about those. Now, the thing with sub-eras I should note is that they do not go nearly as evenly as the main eras do, and even those are usually a bit sloppy, like with how there are a couple old era style videos mixed in with the early classic era. Now, the reason I'm saying all of this, Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventures spanned such a long time that I was bound to catch some other videos in with it. There wasn't just one long stretch of videos where only Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventures videos came out, unlike a certain era we'll cover in a later video. Now, this is separated between Season 1 and 2. However, they're in the same era since not even one video separates the 2 seasons, and at least for the first while, nothing really changed between the 2 seasons in terms of production. Honestly, Season 2 for the first while feels more like Season 1.5. Kinda like how with Splatoon, everyone was saying Splatoon 2 was just Splatoon 1.5 until the Octo Expansion DLC came around. Anyways, this sub-era ended with the release of Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventures Season 2 Episode 11, the finale to the season, and the series. Well, kinda. It was put into an endless loop on purpose, since Logan had surgery for his SMA, and should something happen to him and he couldn't make videos again, or worse, he went to sleep forever, the series could just be in an endless loop forever, which was actually a really good idea. I mean, people were waiting several weeks to see what had happened to Logan after this video came out and he went into surgery. Overall, I still enjoy the Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventures series a ton, and when people think of the classic era, they usually think of this, among other things. So let's move on to the next sub-era. But dabhdude, aren't you forgetting Season 3? Right, Season 3. Well, that is in the sub-era of the classic era, and you can kinda tell just by watching it. But that will be discussed in a later video. Oh boy. During Mario & Luigi Stupid and Dumb Adventure Season 2 Episode 2, a new character was introduced, Black Yoshi, a not-so-subtle black guy stereotype. Raised in the hood and all of that, tries to be gangster, you get it. Black Yoshi quickly became a staple of the channel, at least for a while. While he wasn't always the main focus of the video, he would usually make some sort of cameo at the very least. I mean, this character even got de-stormed to make an SML theme song, which is just surprising, I guess. I would compare his relative popularity to that of what would later become other characters, such as Junior, Jeffy, etc. But the difference is that, especially at the beginning, Black Yoshi wasn't incredibly annoying. He actually played off the other characters pretty well. And more importantly, he wasn't a whiny little brat. Yeah, we'll talk about stuff like that about certain other characters in another video. This also introduced Black Yoshi's own series, Black Yoshi and the Birds. This series was interesting, Plus, I can only really talk about the first few, since the last 2 episodes were well embedded into the era of someone will cover next time, won't we? As for the Angry Birds series, and the Angry Birds as characters, it's honestly kinda weak. The Angry Birds are very one-note with not much character to speak of. One's the boss, another is depressed, another one still stutters a bunch, one of them is a literal bomb, and one is just really gay. There were other videos with these characters too, which were equally as underwhelming. The only thing I can say good about the series to this point is that it's a sequel to what I think is a pretty good video, The Bird. But other than that, the series feels kinda random at times, and overall isn't the best. It's not bad, but it could be better. Now, a lot of people don't actually remember this part, but from Koopa's new job up until the first Junior video, there would actually be quite a few videos with Bowser. Or, actually more realistically, I guess we could call this the Chef PP sub-era, because all it would be Bowser would order Chef PP to cook him something, with the threat being Chef PP going to sleep forever. And so Chef PP would cook something for Bowser. Of course, this does get into some of the next era, so I'll keep this brief. Overall, even though these weren't the best videos, they had this sort of comfy feeling with Chef PP just kind of messing around in the kitchen, and they were certainly decent. A majority of the Shrimpo Hunter series, and Woody videos in general, came out during this era. Were they sort of campy? Yeah. Were they also really funny? Duh. Also, I'd consider The Bird to be a Woody video primarily, and as mentioned, that's one of my favorite SML videos in general. The only real character in these is Woody, and man is he funny in these. Just how he thinks and acts, as well as how he will interact with the other characters he does run into occasionally, is actually pretty funny. I don't have much else to say about this, besides the fact that the Woody videos are really great, in my opinion at least. Now that we're done with those other sub-eras, let's talk about the other videos I have yet to cover. Now, not all of these were perfect material, but a lot of these were actually pretty good. And some of my favorite videos from SML, well, ever, came from this era. I've already mentioned The Bird, but Baby Shrek is another highlight, as well as the Mario and Luigi's Stupid and Dumb Adventure seasons. Some of them were a bit different, and some don't even make sense being on the channel at all, but overall, I can look back on these videos and say things are pretty good. Now, I've gone on about what is good in this era, but I haven't really explained why. Why do I and so many other older SML fans like this era so much? Well, there are many reasons as to why people like this era so much. Let's start off with the elephant in the room, nostalgia. We grew up with this stuff. But wait, then what about the stuff from now? Won't people have similar feelings about that when they're older? You see, I kinda doubt that. The reason most people like the classic era isn't just because of that. It's because of that, and because it holds up well all these years later. It's like people who wonder why Windows XP and 7 are so loved nowadays. It's because over the years they've still held up well. And yet at the same time, you don't really see people reminiscing on stuff like Windows Me or Windows Vista. This era also was before Logan had a schedule to his videos. In 2014, with the release of Chef PP's Father, Logan made it his goal to release 1 or 2 new videos every single week. And for the most part, he's kept that up. The problem with that is now Logan has an obligation to produce more videos. Many people believe that the classic era is so good because Logan had more time to polish the videos of the era. And that's true. There would be times where Logan could publish a bunch of videos in a short time span, and others where he'd wait a couple weeks or more. And overall, I think that, ironically enough, Logan's ability to make plots and videos was just better. In part due to the fact that he didn't have to rush something out, and in part because he didn't... well, we'll cover that bit later, won't we? I can understand why so many people look back on this era so fondly. The videos were all usually pretty good and or pretty funny. They also had that comfy feeling I always mentioned, which, while it still exists in some modern SML videos, it's much more prevalent here. Now, am I biased in all of this? Probably. Also, this is the proof that some of these eras don't split evenly. I think that the split between the old and classic eras was the best you're getting. And even then, it's not a good splitting point. There were still a couple videos reminiscent of the old era and the classic era, because, believe it or not, an era doesn't immediately come to an end, whereas it sort of fades out. Just like how in the next era, there will still be some remaining bits of the classic era in there, such as a couple Bowser videos in there, before it goes full on into, well, you know. We'll save that for next time, though. Thank y'all for watching, and stay tuned for the next SML Eras video, which will hopefully come out in less than 2 months. Thank y'all for watching, and take care.
Dark times are ahead! Dark times indeed!
Seriously? Aren't you overreacting a bit?
Welcome to the apocalypse, Mr. Squidward. I hope you like leather.
I'm a first way.